in like a hypothetical situation, but actually we should be concerned about what it's doing here and now, interacting with our economic, political, and social systems. And some people have asked me in the past, like, is, an OpenAI or Google's Bard, like, is it a Cambridge Analytica 2.0, or is it, something like that? And I would say that it is kind of one step further than that, because it's taking our data to then automate us away. And companies have this kind of imperative right now where they've run out of all the data that they can grab for free on the internet. So they're heavily incentivized by their business model to get us to give them more data, which means that they're going to go back to the same tricks that Facebook did, which is get us addicted to using their tools so that we keep using it, keep giving them their data. And then they use that data to create systems that will ultimately be able to replace us. Not necessarily in that they're going to be so much more proficient at doing the things that we do, but that other companies that employ us right now are going to be like, oh, right, yeah, cost efficient. Let me just lay off a couple thousand people and bring in some automation to fix the problem.
We're going to pause our discussion there for just a few minutes. When we return, Scott Neacombe, Director of the Scalar Centre, that's the Safe, Confident and Aligned Learning and Robotics Lab in the College of Information and Computer Science at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Karen Howe, journalist and data scientist who writes about artificial intelligence for The Atlantic. And Professor Philip Torr, a specialist on AI at the University of Oxford, will test some of the ideas in the European Union's planned AI Act. Will they protect our freedoms? That's right after the news, when the real story continues.
This is the BBC World Service, where Anna Foster is talking to people who survived the attacks in Israel by Hamas.
The 7th of October, 2023.
BBC News. Security forces in southern Israel have moved to a war footing. Gunmen on the loose open fire.
Civilians killed in cold blood and more than 200 hostages dragged away.
It was a full-on war zone.
Those who survived, who lost loved ones, or have family members still held captive in Gaza want to tell their story.
Describe that moment to me.
They were fleeing for their lives. He called my mother, terrified. My mother heard it in his voice and asked him, is everything okay? Mom, you don't want to know what's going on here? That was the last thing we heard.
The Israeli hostages. Tuesday at 9:30 and 20 GMT.
Coming up on The Real Story in the next half hour, can democracies set limits on artificial intelligence, AI, to ensure the benefits aren't delivered at the expense of our liberties and our freedom? The European Union has been first out of the traps with new legislation requiring companies disclose the secrets of their AI. Even developers aren't sure what AI can do, so how do we control it and ensure it doesn't end up controlling us? That's after a summary of the news.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. The US state of Alabama has, for the first time, executed a prisoner using nitrogen gas to cause suffocation. The UN's human rights chief said the execution may amount to torture. A European Union spokesman called it a particularly cruel and unusual punishment. The International Court of Justice is about to make an initial decision on whether Israel's military operation in Gaza amounts to genocide. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 26,000 Palestinians have been killed there since October. Heavy fighting has continued in Gaza ahead of an anticipated visit to Europe by the CIA Director William Burns for talks on a ceasefire and the release of hostages. The White House said negotiations with Israeli and Qatari officials had been serious and sober. A court in Kenya has ruled that plans to send police officers to Haiti to support the fight against gang violence there is unconstitutional and cannot go ahead. Opponents of the plan argued that only the military could be deployed outside the country. The number of foreign workers in Japan has increased to more than 2 million for the first time as the country grapples with severe labour shortages and an ageing population. The largest single group were Vietnamese workers. Thousands of Australians have taken part in demonstrations calling for the national holiday to be moved from the anniversary of the start of British colonisation in the 18th century. Many Indigenous Australians oppose its celebration. A drone attack on one of Iraq's largest gas fields has temporarily halted production. Much of the Kurdistan region is without power. No group has claimed responsibility. And in tennis, the men's world number one, Novak Djokovic, has been knocked out of the Australian Open. The Serbian, who's won the tournament 10 times, was beaten in the semi-final by Yannick Sinner. BBC News.
You're listening to The Real Story from the BBC World Service with me, Sean Lay. This week, we're asking how we can ensure artificial intelligence enhances, not restricts, our freedom. That's with our panel. Scott Neacombe is director of Scalar, the Safe, Confident and Aligned Learning and Robotics Lab in the College of Information and Computer Sciences at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. He's joining us from the United States. In Hong Kong right now is Karen Howe, a journalist and data scientist. He writes about artificial intelligence for the US magazine The Atlantic. And we are also joined by Professor Philip Torr. He is a specialist on AI at the University of Oxford. He's a fellow of both the UK's National Academy of Sciences, the Royal Society, and the Royal Academy of Engineering. And he's speaking to us from the UK. Philip Torr, I want to pick up right off the back of where we were with Karen Howe talking about this misalignment, this risk of misaligned priorities. What's your view?
So I really liked Karen's points, actually. I think they were really good. I think, I guess, existential risk of AI has got a lot of attention. And, I talk to those guys a lot. I've got a lot of respect for them. But I think, what Karen's hinting at and what's more important is not so much to AI, but the misuse of AI by humans in the near term to create social inequality. And, I think this is probably the main question. And as I say, if we see a future going on where there is more concentration of power into several big tech companies, maybe they start to take the job, so there's many more people unemployed. We have to think, where does the wealth of society goes? Now, I'm going to say something a bit controversial here, but, what's capitalism for? Capitalism is to incentivize people to work and to produce companies for profit. But once you have AIs that can develop new ideas, new technologies, new products, new scientific ideas, who should own that? Is it right that just a few people should own that immense source, of almost godlike inspiration? I think then it has to be nationalized and owned by everyone. So it's a little bit controversial, but it's kind of, if we take this thought experiment and go to the future, it's probably, and then we'd have to draw a line of increasing government regulation towards that point, and to make sure the benefits go to everybody.
Scott Neacombe in the United States.
Yeah, so Karen touched on sort of exploitation by corporations, getting people addicted to their systems. Philip mentioned sort of bad actors misusing AI, but I think one other source of risk that I really am concerned about is the kinds of competitive pressures that push corporations, also push governments, militaries, to give more and more control to AI in order to keep up with competitors. So, making more and more weapons systems automated over time so that they can respond faster or supposedly smarter. As you cede more control, there's more risk of not really understanding what these systems are doing, more risk of accidents, unintended escalation. In general, if we keep handing over not just military, but economic power and all sorts of things to AI, and don't understand the decisions that these things are making, it may be that eventually these systems start making decisions that are against many of our best interests, and we can't even pull back. We're locked into the system because our military, our economy, all these sectors are so heavily dependent on these systems that it's really hard to walk back when things start to go sideways a little bit. And humanity might start to have less and less control of its future because we're so heavily dependent on a technology that does so much for us and that we don't entirely understand.
Can I jump back into that? Because I think that's actually a really great point I also wanted to come on to. I think where I do actually coincide with people who are worried about existential risk is very much for the military, because as has been said, I think it would there'd be a competitive advantage. At some point AI will react faster, it will be able to go in and do things, and then we might, we're already starting to see some of the deployment of those things, and actually the consequences will be very bad. Just coming to the other point, initially I'd thought, if AI and robots proliferate, we'd live in this utopian world where there wouldn't be any work. But actually, I'm beginning increasingly to realise that we'd still need a lot of people to oversee the AI, to look at the decisions it makes. And if it was making a legal decision, there'd always have to be a right of address to some humans who would be qualified, say, in the law, all of these other areas. So I think actually at some point people will still want a human to be able to look at the decisions. I do doubt, having worked on neural networks for a while, that they'll ever be explainable in any way that will be directly useful for these things. So I think we'll need trained humans all the time to be able to oversee and review decisions.
Now, let's just pick up a last thought on some of the potential threats to our liberties and freedoms, and that is the one to what we might call our democratic norms. We already experiencing sophisticated disinformation campaigns. Potentially those could now be enhanced or become more threatening by single people using AI tools. Things that might have taken lots of people in troll farms to do, actually being able to do in your bedroom in front of one laptop computer, using AI tools that are out there to create deep fakes of politicians saying things they never said, or to set out false information. How much is that potentially going to undermine not only our trust in the democratic system, but, he says with a certain amount of self-interest here, our trust in the people who provide information and tell us supposedly what's going on in the world?
There are a lot of people who realize that you cannot trust a lot of what is written, depending on where it appears. People are aware that things can be photoshopped or videos can be sort of edited to some degree. But we have new AI models coming out now that can just generate video wholesale, from scratch, right? And video was sort of one of the last bastions of sort of near truth, because it was very difficult just to, sort of create a completely fake video from scratch. And these systems are not great yet, but they're getting better very rapidly. And I feel like that's one source of information or disinformation that people are not generally prepared to have entered the information ecosystem.
The flip side of that as well is that the more that people start to realize that they can't trust anything, the more that becomes problematic as well, because there are things that we do need to trust. Like, this has become a really big issue among human rights activists that are trying to document war crimes. They now have a higher burden of proof to prove that a video of a war crime actually is real. And that is also a huge problem, that people now exist in this kind of liminal space where they don't want to believe anything, and in fact ultimately end up just believing the things that reinforce their pre-existing biases. And I think another dimension to consider is disinformation impacts different countries differently, different societies differently. In countries with strong institutions, even as the UK and US sometimes feel kind of fragile in this moment, they are significantly more resilient than many, many, many other countries around the world that do not have the political and social and media institutions that people can trust and rely on. And that makes disinformation that much worse. And so, like we saw with Facebook, that it impacted Myanmar so much more differently than the US, in that in Myanmar it sparked, ethnic cleansing, and it sparked a coup, a military coup, whereas in the US, we can still debate back and forth about how much of a role it actually played in the elections.
Thank you all very much. Now, we've discussed potential challenges. In the remaining time we have left, we're going to focus on what politicians are doing to try to answer them, as well as to regulate things we can't yet predict. Within the next few months, the 27 countries of the European Union expect to agree the first comprehensive law to regulate AI. Dragoș Tudorache is a member of the European Parliament from Romania. He is one of the MEPs responsible for shepherding the AI Act through its legislative stages, and is contributing to Europe-wide negotiations on what would and wouldn't be in it. I asked him first what practices will be banned.
AI that is used, for example, for social scoring, which is pretty much what China does with its citizens, that is an example of use of AI that is prohibited. Same thing for predictive policing. AI used to predict the commission of a crime by an individual is prohibited under the Act. Same thing for emotional recognition in education or in a workspace. So what it means is that, again, AI used to make emotional behavior determinations in an educational context or in a workplace, again, is to be prohibited.
On the question of surveillance, you've given quite a significant exemption to law enforcement. In what way will they be allowed to use, for example, facial recognition and other biometrics in order to prevent the commission of big crimes or to capture those responsible?
It's not actually such a broad exemption. What we ended up with is a prohibition of the use in public spaces in real time of AI for biometric recognition, with an exception for law enforcement, but in very strictly defined context. And these are whenever it is important to apprehend a suspect in connection to a very limited list of crimes, 16 criminal offenses which are listed in the law, or when it is important to identify the victim of a kidnapping or of trafficking or a juvenile, or in order to prevent an imminent threat or an imminent terrorist attack. And then there are also further guarantees, further safeguards linked to the fact that it always has to be accompanied with by the judicial authorization or equivalent to a judicial authorization depending on the legislation of each member state, that each time it is to be used, the data protection authorities need to get a notification, and there needs to be full transparency, that before deployment there has to be a fundamental rights impact assessment conducted on the particular algorithm that is used for such recognition. So there's a long set of safeguards that are meant to make sure that this remains first and foremost an exception, and second, that even when it happens with sufficient checks and balances to guarantee that individual rights and certainly the right of privacy is not being affected.
Is there anything in the Act that will ensure AI applications avoid discrimination against particular groups, for example, ethnic minorities? Because that is an existing problem that people don't think AI necessarily eliminates.
Well, if there was a starting point 4 or 5 years ago in this whole journey that led us to today, it actually was discrimination. So this was one of the first risks that were identified. If one takes a look at the list of high-risk applications of AI that are being identified by the law, these high risks, again, almost the entirety of the high-risk use cases that are listed there are linked to the possibility of creating discrimination. That's why we have education there. That's why we have banking, insurance. The easiest example for any of these use cases is basically recommendations made by algorithms that are discriminating between one individual or the other, hence the need for transparency, hence the need for explainability, hence the need to know how algorithms are instructed in order to make sure that such discrimination doesn't happen.
But when even the developers admit they don't quite understand how the AI is achieving the results it is achieving, how much can transparency, however strictly mandated and regulated, tell you?
Well, but that's actually one of the whole logics of this text, because right now, what do developers do? They say, well, I don't know exactly how my algorithm does what it does, but they just shrug their shoulders and move on. Well, under this act, they're not going to be able to do that anymore.
AI relies a lot on scraping the internet for every conceivable image, word or phrase that might help the machine develop further. What about the products that they actually produce? You're talking about watermarking those. Can you explain that?
Well, first of all, that's an important thing. We also have a prohibition linked to the indiscriminate scraping of photographs from social media accounts and then using them to develop algorithms. Now, to watermarking. Basically, what we're trying to achieve with this provision of the Act is to make sure that we, as individuals, as citizens, when we interact with content, whether it is video or audio or text, that we know that we are interacting with a content that is not human produced, but that is machine produced. And we believe that is an absolutely essential piece of the trust that we want to create, in fact, because this whole regulation that we're putting in place right now is about creating trust in technology.
That's Dragos Tudorake, who was speaking to me a little earlier. Now, just for some background, just to give you an idea of what other places are doing, China has provided detailed guidance to companies emphasizing the need to control content. The US President Joe Biden has issued an executive order which compels AI companies to reveal any threat there might be to either national security or to the privacy of consumers. And the UK government says it will create new laws if its new AI Safety Institute, which is made up of practitioners and academics in the field, fails to identify risks, or if companies fail to honour voluntary agreements. Professor Philip Torr at the University of Oxford.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. God, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
the coolest way to start your weekend. The best radio show. The best radio show.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Love for you runs deep.
Welcome.
All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world.
Okay, let me say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to each and every one of you, wherever you might be this morning. This is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. If you can hear me, tell me if the music is loud or not, or overshadowing my voice. But if not, I want to welcome you to the Friday edition of the morning show. Let me say I apologize for the live start of the morning show. We had to allow that discussion on the AI and the regulations on it to go on, so that we are well informed of everything that is going on across the globe. So wherever you are, once again, I say welcome to the Starr Radio UK Friday edition of the morning show. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Great to be praised.
So from now to exactement 12:30, when I'm going to be your captain here, bringing you everything that you need to know. I wanted to buckle up, get us a house of cold drinks, whichever is appropriate, and let's take the ride. Let me say good morning to my team, Mr. Lion Mikwaiki. Martin, good morning to you. Working behind the scenes still, and I know he's going to be live on air. Hopefully, keeping figures and everything crossed from next week. However, he's giving me all the necessary information that I need to put across. So I promise you, I'm going to deliver on that. What about that? And then also we have
till the end. You are one who took
my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, who is working behind the scenes to make sure that everything works perfectly for you this morning, so that the sound and everything that you are hearing will be one that will be for good, suitable, name it, for your ears. I mean, rest assured, it is happening. From archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, it's making the headlines. One thing for sure, I'm gonna touch on it. So once again, welcome to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 2 minutes to 11. Let me say good morning to Bishop Andeshina, Anthony Adedeji, Aziz, Olakunle, Shamsuddin, wherever you are, massive good morning to you. Pastor Momo, I hope you are doing very, very well. It's been quite a while. Good morning to Mr.
All of you makes
Here could be say, Mr. Ochem Frimpong, wherever you are, good morning to you, gentlemen. And a special good morning also goes to Kojo D, Felix, my brother, all the way in Aberdeen, and Mr. Frank Davis back in Ghana, and all you wonderful people who make this platform or this show a good one there. Once again, I say a massive welcome to the program, and don't touch the dial. Okay, so if it's your first time of tuning in on Friday, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the word forecast to follow suit, then the travel update. We move from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as global trotting. Then we continue from there to have a look at some of the stories, the details of them, from Nigeria to other parts of Africa, Ghana, name it. And then we come to other parts of the world. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. Then at 12:30, we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. So in Nigeria, that's what's happening. We're not going to be having our Money Man today, but I promise you, next week, we will be having our Money Man live on air. And let me say good morning to Pastor Joyce Lawson. Good morning to you. And to my sister-in-law, Rosita. Hey, Rosita, massive good morning to you as well. Okie dokie, let's crack on.
All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dog face.
Well, the quote for the day says what? The quote for the day says, be the change. Be generous with your creativity and learn to create your own luck. Or as somebody say, luck. Right then, Starr Radio UK. Now moving on straight to the weather front as well. So on the weather front this morning, but London and the southeastern part of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you. This afternoon will be a dry and bright day with plenty of windy sunshine about and just a few light patches of cloud drifting by at times. Now winds easing through the day. Now this evening and tonight there will be a clear spell with a few areas of patchy cloud developing. Now from the west in spots. Now it's going to be staying dry throughout, and it will be a calm night as well. Now the top temperature is going to be 12 degrees, the lowest is going to be 2 degrees, UV level low, pollution low, sunset 16:39, sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:48 hours. This is Starr Radio UK, and let me take you straight to the travels as well, wherever you might be. It is the Starr Radio UK morning show, the Friday edition, the 26th day of January 2024. So on the travel this morning, the Central Line has got severe delays, Second Line, Piccadilly lines have also got minor delays. That aside, all the others are running a very good service there. So check before you leave as well. Let's take this here landing traveling and landing overground running a good service as well. Now taking us straight to the major roads in London. On the major roads in London, apart from the A3, that's got serious delays. All the other ones are running no exceptional delays there, so you should be able to travel the way you anticipate. Now on the river bus as well, good service still out there. The landing cable car is also running a good service, and that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. But keep your eyes on the roads, as we keep you navigated, I promise our bond. So on the National Rail this morning as well, First Transparent Express has got minor delays, Great Western Railway minor delays, Northern Rail, ScotRail, Southwestern Railway minor delays, also Southern and Transport for Wales have also got minor delays. That aside, all the others are running good services, so you will not miss your appointment there. But this is where I will say it once again, as I normally do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your coming for today, but you know what? Continue to keep this, I swear, on the road.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. The money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to 5 minutes past the top of the hour. It is now time for what? Global Trotting, where we look at all the stories that is making the rounds across the globe, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, as I say all the time. If it's making the headlines, for sure, we're going to be touching on that. Let me say morning to Rosita, Alfred, and all the family back home. Yes, Kwame Ebenezer. Yes, all the way in Cape Town. I salute you, and I hope you are all doing very, very well. Okay, so, starting from home here in the UK, what have I got for you? What has I got news for you? More than 60 calls for help before boys murder. A safeguarding report highlights a catalogue of missed opportunities before Alfie Steele's death. We'll be telling you more about that. King Charles is in hospital for a prostate treatment. No, it will be pish bash bush, and then he will be out of there. And BT customers unknowingly charged for Xbox game. Really? Pass? Okay, I have to check my bill to see whether I have not been charged that. Now, Post Office plan to sack rising reviewers kept secret. Whoa, interesting there. And call for prison care home for aging sex offenders. Okay, so those are some of the stories making the rounds here in the UK, in other parts of the world as well. Well, Alabama has carried out its first nitrogen gas execution. The untested method was approved after lethal injection drugs became more difficult to obtain. The UN top court to rule on Israel-Gaza war. The ICJ could order Israel to stop military action in a high-profile case brought by South Africa. And in Kenya, Kenyan court blocks police deployment to Haiti. Kenya had offered to lead a multinational force to tackle gang violence in the Caribbean, but the courts have actually banned it. A mining giant told to pay 9.7 billion over dam disaster. The 2015 collapse of the Pandao Dam in Brazil caused a giant mudslide and killed 19 people, and they've been ordered to pay what? 9.7 billion. I will bring you details of that when the program or while the program goes on. Well, some twins who were separated and sold at birth have been reunited by TikTok video. It's quite an interesting one. Well, somebody says, isn't it good? It is good, man. Now, Trump takes legal risk on stand in defamation trial. Let's see what is going to happen there as well. And Klopp to leave as Liverpool boss at end of season. One of the story. And China warns against exotic beauty spy traps. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. Now moving on to some of the stories making the rounds in Africa as well. The presidency replies article over comments on Tinubu's 3.3 billion NNPC loan. And then APC invitation. We have not been contacted, Governor Yusuf is saying. And then in other stories, Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. Federal government and Morocco in talks to expedite project. Why not? If it's going to bring the country some more money. Now, Tinubu NLC renewed war over World Bank, IMF agenda. And then take away parks. Lagos maintains stance on styrofoam ban and give 3 weeks moratorium. Well, that's what I was saying. Because people are stocked up. You didn't give them any warning. They have stocked up. Now you just say, oh yes, overnight. Yeah. We've been looking at it over a period of time. Well, you didn't warn them. So now you have to allow them to exhaust their stocks. Okay? Now Tinubu has funding for second Niger break, Abuja, Kano, other projects, says Omahi, and Plateau killings. Enough is enough. Speaker declares to meet Tinubu. We'll be telling you more about all that as the program goes on. In other stories making the rounds this morning as well, Kenya court rules deployment of police officers to Haiti is illegal. And then some other stories as well. Rwanda officials say mass graves still being found almost 30 years after genocide. Well, is it something that can bring the people together? And if it can, why not? Okay, in Zimbabwe as well, Zimbabwe's main opposition leader quits, claiming his party. And then Blinken praises relationship between U.S. and Angola, of course. And France Constitutional Court rejects controversial. I'll be telling you more about that. And Guinea's junta leader, Mamadi Doumbouya, promoted. Well, where can he be promoted to? You know, back in the day, we had Idi Amin. Whilst Idi Amin was in position, then he will have he was promoting himself. He became Field Marshal. So Field Marshal Dada Idi Amin. Yeah. So maybe Doumbouya was also trying to make himself either Field Marshal or is an Air Marshal, whichever he wants to be. Okay. Or Security Marshal. Well. Those are all stories making the rounds there. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now we get to Ghana as well. In Ghana, an eye checkup each birthday could prevent avoidable sight loss, ophthalmologist is saying. But how many people can afford that? Okay. A Major Mahama murder, prepare to return your verdict on January 29. That's what the court has ordered the jury. And Lodina Mahama solves water problem in Jema Ampoma. And then OSP and Cecilia Dapa's corruption investigation refers matter to Iyoko. So return Cecilia Dapa seized funds within 72 hours. That's what the court has said to OSP. Now, is it not like throwing a spanner in the web of the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, to make sure that they interrogate or do their bit when it comes to corruption and stuff like that? But with these actions that is going on, it looks like, well, if you think that is going to go against them, they find ways and means and use all the legal gymnastics to actually have a day or a field day for themselves. Well, I think the MPP parliamentary primaries are taking place. MPP primaries, Kwesi Kwarteng tipped to win the Ashanti Achem North seat. And then NADMO staff campaign against regional director in Fantiakwa North. And then the Domikwa Benya people are saying, you know what, delegates are saying, we still have Adwoa Safo, so we're going to be maintaining her. Now, Bosompim is an imposter. Ashanti MPP chairman Dean ignore his statement. Menchia South is also saying that is some of the stories making the rounds there as well. Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Ghana Enterprises Agency dispenses over 700 million Ghana cedis to boost small and medium scale businesses. But who are benefiting from it? Angry Ashama resident ban political campaigns over deplorable roads. Now, when you look at the roads there, I bet you, if you are living in the bush somewhere, at least you have the greens covering it. But this, a picture before me, is not a good thing to look at all. But well, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. This is the Friday edition of the morning show. Let's go enjoy some music, and I will be back bringing you everything I got to know when it comes to all the story, the details of the stories that is making the rounds this morning. So stay tuned, don't you go away. I will be with you. This is South medley, with Emeka songs.
Put something in your hands. 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 Put something in your hands.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, of course, it's Friday, so what? Yeah, we have to celebrate, we have to enjoy ourselves. Some friend says it's Friday and it's still my mind day.
If you're still behind, you gotta come forward for this. What is about to get crazy? We say, Jesus, say, you are worthy. Savior, thou art worthy. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? Jesus, you are worthy. Savior, thou art worthy. I love this part so much. Thou alone art worthy to be praised. Thou alone art worthy.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thou alone art worthy to be praised. The other part, it says, Shukro. Hey! Shukro, Lord. If you know
this is Starr Radio UK.
If you know you want to give the Lord a dance offering, come here.
Okay, some music there for you. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I will bring you some more music during the course of the program. For now, let's take a commercial break. We come back and continue with the show.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
You are listening to Star Radio Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I bring you the time now to 17 minutes past the top of the hour, and let's crack on. Let's look at some of the details of the stories making the rounds this morning. Starting from where? Nigeria. What have I got for you? I got news for you. Well, the presidency has reacted to the 2023 People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's remarks regarding President Bola Tinubu's $3.3 billion emergency crude repayment loan secured by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company. Atiku said Tinubu's administration owes Nigerians an explanation over a $3.3 billion loan secured by the NNPCL. Recall that on August 16, 2023, the current administration secured the loan through the NNPC with the Apex Petroleum Company, saying it was to help give support to the Naira and stabilize the foreign exchange. Now, Atiku said the curious thing about this transaction is that up till now, the federal government continues to keep mum about it. The only information available to the public on the mega deal coming only through unofficial sources from the NNPCL. The deal is supposed to be accrued for cash loan arranged by the African Export-Import Bank. Now, reacting to Tinubu's senior special assistant on media, Otega Ogra, and digital and new media, Otega Ogra, said the president has educated Nigerians on the issues of the loan. Now, posting on X, Ogra wrote, "Dear VP Atiku, 1999 to 2007. President Bola Tinubu's administration has taken the time to educate all Nigerians further on the loan at various times, the latest being 4 days ago. We also enjoin you, sir, to please share your thoughts on the Medium post, which is more comprehensive. Thank you, Your Excellency." Here is a tweet from the presidency's official handle, and it's quite an interesting one, the way he did it. Is he being sarcastic, saying Your Excellency, or is being a gentleman, just saying, acknowledging the fact that he was once, what do you call it? Once a vice president and has been in position for quite some time, and therefore have to accord him the necessary respect. I mean, if we could do that, why not? That is good. But listeners, it's all coming away from Star Radio UK. Now, I said the presidency have actually explained to the public. But if you are listening to me from Nigeria, or you heard from Nigeria where you want to know exactly what has gone on there, do you understand the move by government to do this? Listeners, Star Radio UK. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has reacted to the invitation extended to him by the National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, asking him to join the party. The Ganduje had on Thursday invited the governor, his aides, and other members of his party, the NNPP, to join the APC to boost the party's membership in Kano State. The APC National Chairman said the decision to invite Governor Yusuf and other members of the NNPP in the state was part of their resolution of the expanded Kano State APC stakeholders meeting in Kano. In a quote, he says, stakeholders of the APC in Kano State have resolved to invite the governor of Kano State, his official, and his party, the NNPP, to join our great party, the APC. Our party's doors are wide open to receive you and all other members of the NNPP into the APC, and we are creating an enabling